Joe presents Baz and Andrew's House of Rugby, together with Guinness.
Hello and you're welcome to Baz and Andrew's House of Rugby on Joe, together with Guinness. Jenny, we had a lifeline sent to us, didn't we, by Wales at the weekend. We're back in the game. Six Nations is on. Six Nations is more or less ours again, isn't it? Yeah, it's pretty much ours. Then why is everybody hating Ireland? We get a bonus point win in Italy and then we're the bad guys.
People just like to hate on the reigning champs.
We're spoilt.
We are spoilt.
Are the team crap or are the supporters spoilt? Spoiled little
team
brats.
Are definitely not crap.
Yeah.
And the sporters, I'm not going to say anything bad about them either because there's more of them.
They're not crap.
They're not crap. No, it's just kind of like you said, we're spoiled for choice, and when we don't have a near perfect game, like panic buttons are pressed, and it's suddenly like, oh God, the World Cup, oh the Six Nations. It's still fine. Like, the guys got back after a tough loss against England. They ground out a win against Scotland. It wasn't the nicest of performances today, but it's still a bonus point win away from home against an Italian team that I think is personally doing really well. Like, we racked up in the last 3-4 years over 50 points on that team, and the gap was, like, I think on average, Pat was saying 34 points. They've shortened that gap now, so they only lost to Scotland by 13, 12 or 13, Wales by 11, and Ireland by 10. So they are getting better, and like it wasn't our best day at the office.
The spread was 30, so I think everybody's I think Italy are getting better. So Irish rugby supporters' reaction is never, aren't Italy brilliant? It's always the opposite. It's more so recently because we've been playing well, and it's always kind of critical of the lads, isn't it? I wonder whenever Ireland beat New Zealand in the autumn, what the New Zealand's press, what their reaction was. Would they be slating their lads, or would they actually be kind of sensibly saying, listen, Ireland are on fire at the minute? You know, obviously Italy can't really compare, but still, it's just strange, isn't it? And we're spoiled brats.
Yeah, and maybe we're not used to being in that position of like number 2 in the world. You know, we've carried that underdog kind of card for so long. Maybe we've kind of gotten used to it, and then when suddenly it's flipped and we are favourites going into not just games but tournaments, again, like that sense of unease and panic if something doesn't go particularly right. It's a bonus point win. Yeah. It's grand, and we are still, thanks to Wales, in with a shot of getting some silverware.
I know. Anytime Jacob gets the ball and doesn't score a try, that is disgraceful behaviour.
Couldn't agree with you more.
Who do you think you are, not scoring tries every time you get the ball?
What a waste.
Jacob.
Yeah. Like,
get your finger out.
He's absolutely on fire.
I know.
Like, and then like a break right at the end as well. It's just like not to like that pace. And like he's obviously going fast, but he doesn't look like he's going. Yeah, he's just a speedster. He's just like he's top 10 now. He's in the top 10 of Irish try scorers of all time, isn't he? He's like catching up on you. Oh. Yeah.
Everyone's catching up on me. Well, even Murray's catching up on me.
Still up there. Still beat the All Blacks on your own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Single-handedly.
Hurt your back doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Carrying the team.
Yeah. We've got a friend of mine's coming in to see us later on, Craig Gilroy. Wow. Sound? I think you'll like him.
It's not a convincing sound.
I think you'll like him.
Okay.
I told my wife earlier on, Craig's coming on the show, and she said, she goes, don't be getting too silly and giggly. Which I think that's a compliment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Been hearing it for years.
Yeah. So, anyway, Craig's going to come on later on.
He's right there, so he can't really talk.
Craig's going to...
Oh, he's not there.
He's going to come on and give us his breakdown of where he thinks this Irish team are at. More importantly, he's going to tell us some funny stories about teammates. So,
perfect.
Yeah. Anecdotes.
Dob the minute.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So anyway, we'll go back to rugby. What about a few guys who got opportunities, like Jordy Murphy, Ulster and Ireland, Kilcoyne went well.
Yeah, I thought 3 of those really solid performances. I think we did miss some of our bigger ball carriers, like Stander. It was great to see Henderson coming on, but maybe that kind of, I guess, lack of physicality at times was a bit telling. I think it was a tough day at the office for Sean Cronin, if I'm honest. I don't really know the goings on of lineouts, but it was, and you can't blame the hooker for, it'd be either overthrows or mistiming. I wasn't too sure, but it's never good when you're going off at 48 minutes. You know, that's not where you want to be. I'd imagine he'd be pretty disappointed.
He'd be gutted, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Like, he's waited a long time for his first start in Six Nations, and yeah, I'm sure he'd be disappointed. I think the one that you're probably thinking of there, the one that looked like an overthrow, I can't remember who it was in the air, but they seemed to drop very quickly, and it looked like, I don't think, again, who knows, I haven't a clue really if I'm honest about lineouts, but it looked like he dropped quite quickly. It might have been a Mahoney, was it?
I'm not too sure.
Again, I don't know what the
I'm not too sure. And
mechanism
again, like lineouts, and like I wouldn't be able to kind of look at it and be like, oh yeah, that's definitely where that went wrong.
Yeah.
But like again, it's the hooker is the easiest person to blame in that scenario from a non-looker. So
yeah, it's the lazy conclusion to jump to, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway.
No.
But obviously, Andrew Conway got a bit more game time as well.
That's hard. He coming in, I think he was really late into camp as well, and then having to go on early.
Yeah.
To go
Change
on.
the position for Earls is difficult for him as well. I missed this actually. I came back in and I couldn't understand why Conway and Earls were on the pitch at the same time, because I nipped out into the kitchen because Mummy was making Nutella pancakes, and I was starving. So
So you giggled like a little.
yeah. I was like, oh.
Get some for Craig.
That's perfect. Yeah. So I got my Nutella pancake, came back in, and I just couldn't work out what had happened.
Ideal pancake topping. Side note.
Yeah.
Like
a welcome side note.
Yeah.
Enough rugby for 1 week.
Like, are you going Nutella with strawberries, Nutella with bananas, Nutella?
This one was Nutella with bananas.
Okay.
Now I felt like that just got me going. That got me into pancake mode.
Yeah.
Back to the kitchen, and then by this stage, Anna had finished making pancakes for the kids.
Mummy or Anna?
Oh, sorry, Mummy.
Mummy. Okay, yeah.
The kids had enough pancakes, and I was like, I'm still hungry for pancakes.
Yeah.
So
Fluffy, thin?
Fluffy enough, yeah. Not a crepe.
Okay. So a hybrid.
To be fair, that one I was making myself, so I'm not dictating the terms. Oh no, I'm making a fluffy one here. I'm making whatever comes out.
Okay, it has to be cooked.
Yeah, because I forgot to put butter on and I had to scrape it at the bottom and stuff.
That doesn't sound great.
Yeah, I made up for it. Pancake was crap. I just put more Nutella on. That was fine.
Classic, just smother and forget. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So anyway, came back in and I couldn't understand what had happened. Anyway, so Bundy got a bang in the head, did he?
Yeah, like 12 minutes in, and like, again, that's probably one of the most difficult positions to slot in with the bench that we had. So, yeah, Farrell had to move in, and then it was Earlsy at 13, Conway coming in, and again, like late camp and kind of all that compounded to maybe make a performance that it didn't really click, and that's understandable. Like, we know Earlsy's he's solid on the wing. He's world-class winger. 13, even though he's played there a few times, it's definitely not. He's not known as being the most vocal.
I thought he looked busy though. He was.
Yeah, he got around.
A lot of involvement.
Yeah.
And then so Farrell went to 12 then, obviously.
Yeah.
So then again, that's another guy who's out of position as well. I thought he did well.
No, they did really well considering like the amount of shifting and stuff they had to do.
Yeah.
Earls took his try really well.
Yeah.
Like, that guy's got some of the best footwork on the island.
Yeah.
Like, it is a hot stepper. No, it was really good. Kind of like an individual try coming from nothing.
Yeah.
Well, no, they were building, but it was like a serious piece of skill from him. So.
Yeah.
And then there was still like strong performances, but again, I can't imagine any of the guys would have been like really tapping themselves on the back, being like, "Oh, we were class today." But it's kind of job done. Have a week, which is nice, and then build to what was a really impressive France team.
Yeah,
beating Scotland.
A few decent performances from the Italians as well. Hayward was going unbelievably well. Esposito was going well. Oh, I called him Esposito, but actually Barry and I were talking about this in a previous episode. Fofana became Fofana at one stage. Lamont, Sean and Rory became Lamont. And then Esposito has become Esposito. I swear, like everybody was calling him that the Nick Mullins commentator, and then Drico. Drico called him Esposito as well. I was going. Is he any relation to Esposito?
I don't know, but now I was trying to pay attention, but that song was just going on in the back of my mind as well. So I was like, just nod your head and pretend it's really interesting. Yeah, sorry.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
okay, yeah.
Sorry.
No, that's
But
fine.
like whatever you said, yeah, I agree with.
yeah.
Class.
I should have known there was something going on in your
Oh,
head.
my
Actually, you
eyes
were
just
kind of smiling.
glazed over.
You were glazing and smiling.
It was like great song.
Anyway, so probably the Wales England game was kind of more of a proper test match, wasn't it?
That was like I felt sore watching that game
Yeah,
afterwards.
yeah.
It was just absolutely brutal.
Yeah.
Unbelievable performance from Wales.
Yeah.
And it looked like the first 40 minutes, England, you were kind of like, oh, they could tip on here and maybe pop a few more scores. But in fairness to Wales, they really backed their fitness.
Yeah.
Like, because England were putting huge line speed and pressure when Wales had the ball, but then like territory, they kept the ball really well, and they dealt with Farrell's kicking in the second half in particular kind of went a bit wayward, and it wasn't as sharp as it had been in the first half or in the previous two games.
Yeah.
So, and that definitely helped Wales as well. And then they just, like, we know Warren Gatland likes to keep the ball alive. There was a serious amount of phases there, and that's a very, very fit Welsh team. Like, their try that ended with Corey Hill, 35 phases. Every single Welsh player took the ball into contact at some stage, except for the 9. And the ball was kept alive for 4 minutes and 17 seconds.
Yeah.
Which is a disgusting amount of time to defend.
No thanks.
Yeah, I'm like, nah, pass.
Nah.
Yeah.
Nah.
I'll
Retirement, thank you. Cheers.
Like, I'll be on the watt bike rehabbing. Not today.
Yeah. I don't think so.
So like that was unbelievable. And then huge amounts of skill, that aerial, that like Anscombe thought did well, but when Bigger came onto the field, different level again. The guy just plays in those big games.
Yeah.
He just hits another level.
You said this before actually as well. You think Bigger should be getting ahead of Anscombe?
I think Bigger was carrying a knock, probably why he maybe wasn't starting.
Yeah.
And even though Anscombe's going really well with the
Yeah.
Blues this season and he's had some like stellar performances, those big moments, it's always Bigger that backs himself and does it, like aerial kick across. Bigger moments.
Yeah.
You should look in the camera and say that.
No.
Do it.
If we can get rid of that, if we can edit that out, Pat, that'd be great. Cheers. And then then obviously I watched the Scotland-France game as well. I saw every minute of Six Nations this weekend.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm all rugbyed out. I was at the Ulster game on Friday night as well, commentating, and it was terrible. It was so crap. Zebra were really struggling. They've obviously lost loads of guys to Italy, and it looked like Ulster, they're in cruise control, you know, they're kind of scoring tries whenever they wanted to, and then they're just, anyway.
Did they rack up 50 something? Did they rack up?
Yeah, but both teams were bored. Zebra knew they were beat, they just wanted it on the bus, and then they had a Fijian 6 who was just so bored, he was just running around smacking people off the ball because he just couldn't be bothered playing rugby anymore, and they wanted on the bus, and then Ulster just wanted to they got their bonus point. And then, anyway, that was game over. So that was definitely the low point of the weekend. Six Nations was great. The other game we haven't talked about is the France-Scotland game. France kind of back from the dead a little bit. Scotland were poor enough, were they not?
Yeah, like I know that you hear them talking about like all the amount of injuries and stuff they have, which is fair enough. But Ireland have had a serious amount of injuries, and like I know there might be more depth. We have definitely got a lot of depth, but like that's not the performance you want.
Yeah, I didn't think it would be that much of an issue. I thought Peter Horan would be fine. Obviously, the big injuries, Finn Russell and Stuart Hogg, I thought Peter Horan would be fine. I think he's a good player. And Kinghorn, is that his name?
Blair
Yeah, like he's been tearing up for Edinburgh this year as well. So I thought they'd be grand, but they were poor enough. Adam Hastings came on and played really well. And Ali Price came off the bench. The two 9 and 10 came off the bench. I thought gave them something, but yeah, they kind of struggled a little bit.
When Bastareaud has the confidence to chip and chase in a Six Nations game, Yeah,
Doesn't bode well.
Yeah, and he took it really well too. It led to a really good try out wide for France.
I know.
But I had to rewind and be like, he just chipped and chased there.
I thought it looked a little bit clumsy.
When it works,
It was
though,
perfect,
it
though.
was
Yeah.
it was grand.
I know, yeah.
Yeah, end result. I'll take that.
Yeah. So what about, will we make any changes for the France game?
I'd say so. Well, like injury-wise, I'd imagine Aki should be cleared and kind of good to go.
Yeah.
I thought Farrell had a solid game considering the amount of moving that he had to do.
Yeah.
Coming back from a knee knock. But I'd say if Ringrose is fit, he'll probably slot back into that 13 position. I don't know.
Is Ringrose more likely to be fit than Henshaw?
I think so.
Pat? Pat the meatloaf!
They were saying
Where's my pancake?
it was one of those ones again where it was like Schmidt often says, if we had to play Robbie Henshaw, we could have.
Yeah, okay.
You know, he says that all the time. Like if we
Yeah.
had to, we'd play him. So Henshaw's supposed to be very close. Like
Okay. But Ringrose probably...
I think the two of them could be back though, back in the
really?
mix. Like we've got another 2 weeks. Like so, I think both of them could be back available. So it'd be great to see the two of them in again. But they would have gone a long time without playing a game, especially Henshaw.
And then...
I don't think that you can I don't think you can remove Aki from like, even like Farrell is a huge physical presence in midfield. Aki is too. Yeah, I don't know. I think if Aki be fine, I'd have him back in that 12 jersey first, and then depending on who's either training well or what they want from the game, it's Henshaw or Ringrose in a 13. Like that's nothing against Farrell either. He had an all right game today.
I thought he went well.
Yeah,
Went really well.
Yeah, so I don't know. Jury's still out.
Yeah. And what about, would Carberry get a run, or what about Kieran Marmion's coming back in, or would Cooney get a go? I don't know.
I don't know. Like I imagine that Murray is going to start again. I think Cooney will probably stay on the bench, but then like he only got minimal amount of minutes today. I thought we'd see more. Maybe if the game was a little bit more open and we had a bit more breathing room,
Yeah.
he would have come on earlier. The same with Jack Carty getting his first cap. I think he was only on the pitch for 4 or 5 minutes. So that's kind of either like they want Murray and Sexton to get as many minutes as they can together because it's been a bit fragmented that way.
He made that point, I think he was saying, when Wales played Italy, they had a lot of guys with a lot of game time, so they needed breaks, but for a lot of our lads, they kind of need more game time, so
Yeah.
yeah, they're still trying to play them. They're still, not quite where they were in the autumn when they were peaking, kind of All Blacks, so they're probably just trying to play them until things click a little bit more, but I'm sure it's not a million miles away, but...
No, and they've played together numerous times before. I can't imagine it would take too long to gel either. Like, and the more minutes, the kind of better as well.
Yeah,
So it was,
yeah.
and again, it wasn't perfect performances from. Well, it never is from any player across the board. But more minutes under your belt, you get a bit of confidence going into a slightly ropey French team at times, who are now starting to play some nice.
It's bad timing, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, I think it's like even how the fixtures fell for us, it wasn't great timing either. Like England came out of nowhere and took us by surprise. I think even when we had them in the second game, we might have been like, okay, we know what they're about.
Yeah, it was the perfect storm, wasn't it?
Yeah.
England shatter our confidence, and then everybody else kind of picks the bones of us and
Yeah.
kind of feeds off that.
And we still are in title contention. That's
Yeah.
the thing as well.
Yeah.
Like I know we've got like 2 tough games, especially like before the tournament. I was thinking like, oh, mightn't be a Grand Slam decider, but I do think that last game with Wales and Ireland is pivotal.
It's pivotable.
Pivotable.
It is. I mean, it's
What
there's
even,
not
what even was I trying to say? Something beginning with P.
pivotal.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah,
Feck.
that'll do us for part 1.
Great. We'll end on that. We'll end on a high.
Sorry, Jenny. That's my fault. I didn't.
No, it's not pivotal.
No, but I didn't need to make a big song and dance about it. Sorry for doing that. Very unprofessional. Sorry.
That's grand. You nailed the Rocky theme tune last week, so.
Oh yeah, it's a final countdown.
Yeah.
No one on Twitter gave me a hard time about that. It's gone completely unnoticed.
All right.
So
Nothing chewed in their graw or anything like that.
no,
Nothing.
100%. Anyway, that's part 1. Join us for part 2, where Craig Gilroy is going to spill the beans. Okay, we're back with part 2, and we've got the one, the only, the dreamy Craig Gilroy. Just exactly how dreamy are you, Craig?
How dreamy you want me to be?
It's pretty dreamy. Pretty dreamy, Jenny, huh?
I like the first introduction better. Can we go back and do that again?
No, that's gone. That's dead to us. Craig, do you remember when we first met or first spent time together?
I
No,
remember.
first met sounds better.
Okay.
Well, when I first saw you, wasn't the same when you first saw me because you blanked me. Remember?
I remember you saying this, but I don't
Yes.
remember.
Well,
you
yes.
meant so little to me at the time. It doesn't even ring a bell.
You were driving a silver Vauxhall Vectra. Was
Pretty
it? Or
slick.
Astra.
Yeah.
He was leaving.
Hey, that's show business.
New Forge, and I was only like 18 at the time, so he was like one of my heroes, still is. And I saw him in the car. He saw me, and I saw him, and I waved. And as I waved, he turned away and scratched his side of his head. So I was kind of just walking to the gym like this. So
Like it's the
speaking
most
to no
natural
one.
thing ever.
Yeah.
Keep your hand up.
Yeah, but then we went on to form a pretty good friendship, didn't we?
Yeah. I remember the first time we spent a significant amount of time together, and that was in the car on the way home from Limerick camp.
That's right.
Do you remember that?
Yes.
Do you remember what game we played on the way home?
Yes, we played that game where you have to pick a contact in the other person's phone and then keep them online for 3 minutes, wasn't it? Yeah, you couldn't let them go.
Yeah.
It got pretty intense, didn't it?
Yeah.
So do you get to pick? Do you get to pick Craig's contact?
Yes,
Oh,
I
right.
think you have one sort of veto,
Veto.
don't you?
That's right. That was our rule. We were
He
kind of
used
making up
his.
rules as we went along.
Okay.
Yeah,
It was just who negotiated harder, really.
Okay.
Got the better of the other.
yeah.
And then he would go through my phone, and then he would say, "What about this person?" And then he would try and gauge by my reaction whether it was a sensitive one,
Okay.
one that I would be uncomfortable
Yeah.
with.
Yeah.
So I would try and be, "Oh yeah, work away, yeah." And then he would sense the bluff and be like, "We're calling that person."
Yeah, and it turned to be a good one. Well, it was both pretty awkward. We both kept them on for about 3 minutes, you know.
Yeah.
I think I had to end it quite abruptly with, the old, "There's a police behind me, I've got to go."
Please,
Just,
yeah.
so, yeah.
Do we know who he called or?
For me, he called a girl from Korean. Like I knew when I was a kid, but I haven't heard from in like years and years. And it was I think she said about how her husband went to the games or something, and then I was like all flustered, and I was like I was trying to say he's pay, I was trying to say he's paying my wages, kind of like,
Yeah.
but I said he's putting money in my both pockets or something terrible.
Something quite patronising.
Yeah, anyway, and I finished it, and then I was just like, I gotta go, the police are behind me. So that like
do you
that.
ever think at dinner parties she's probably like, Andrew changed so much in school.
Yeah.
Random phone call. What a prick! Like
Yeah.
just talked about it.
She was so polite for so long. It was
Yeah.
3 minutes of, do you ever hear from? And it was someone from school, or so
Yeah.
what's the crack in here? And eventually she was like, well, what can I do you for?
Yeah.
And then I was like, I gotta go.
Yeah, it made the journey back from Limerick pretty good.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we
I'm
hit it
doing
off.
Pretty enjoyable.
Okay, that sounds like
Yeah.
a horrible game to play, but very entertaining.
Yeah, well, we got to know each other very
Okay.
very quickly that way. But Craig, tell me, last week we were talking about memories of Rome. And
Yes.
you had a pretty special 15 minutes in Rome.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It was. Like to play a bit more, but yeah, come off the bench.
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
That was my last. That was the last cap for Ireland. So I thought it was enjoyable, and it was a nice wee weekend. Always over there and good to dot down. Yeah, it was tough string of injuries after that, but yeah, hopefully get back there.
And your back injury this year, what's the story?
It was the
I
sort
thought
of
you were retired. I thought we'd both retired at the same time.
yeah. It was similar to last year, except it was the other side. It just healed a bit differently and took a bit longer. But I started back running there on Saturday for the first time in about 4 months. So it was like learning how to walk again, and I'm really feeling it today in the legs. But it was good to just get back running because now you guys know yourselves, you can push on a bit once you get back running.
So massive relief and stuff as
Massive
well.
relief, yeah, exactly. I was sort of looking at the Alter G, almost pacing up and down beside it, thinking,
Yeah.
should I leave this another week? But it went really well, so I was happy.
Happy days. So over the next 2 or 3 weeks, then you'll ramp up, and you're maybe, 4 weeks away from playing?
Probably 4 or 5 weeks, yeah.
Okay.
So I'll see how I go this week. Maybe I can push on to, obviously the Ulster G, takes your body weight down, so I can.
Yeah.
If this week I get to run on my own.
Yeah, what body?
Running on my own. 27 years old. Can run on my own. We'll see, yeah.
What body percentage or body weight percentage were you running at then?
I started at 60%
Uh-huh.
and put it up to 80. I actually felt more comfortable at 80. Do you know sometimes in those machines, it's almost assists you too much and sort of takes you out of your running pattern?
Yeah, but you ever just ramp it up so you're nearly like, oh, this is how Neil Armstrong feels.
Yes.
That's cool as well.
Well, Tommy Bow did
That's
that,
what I was
didn't
gonna
he?
say, yeah.
On the, what was that documentary?
The Science of Tommy.
Yes, and it was funny until he was, coming out of the machine.
Yeah, he
And-
got thrown over the handlebars on the treadmill.
And it was Phil Glasgow, who's now, I think, the head physiotherapist with RFU, was working with him at the time at Sinai of Ulster, and I think he was on hand to sort of get it back down.
Yeah, I think Phil, I kind of have this impression that Phil was like talking to the camera and this was going on in the background.
Yes.
Yeah. And then Phil's like, Tommy, stop mucking about, you're going to get me sacked.
Yeah.
Tommy, huh?
Tommy, birthday the other day.
I know, yeah. We sent him a video, didn't we?
Yeah.
Did you send him a video?
No, he blocked my number.
He does that.
He probably blocked ours as well.
Yeah, I know. Never got a reply. Anyway. Anyway, so you're sorted then. You're going to be back in a few weeks' time and
Probably-
look forward to seeing you.
Probably a bit more than a few, but yeah, getting there. Back
Yeah.
running, so
We,
over
we,
one
we
hour.
all miss the Gilroy hit and spin.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks, I miss it too.
I'm sure.
Hopefully I can still do it.
Pirouette.
Yeah. Have you enjoyed, has it been almost like a little bit of a sabbatical, like just a wee bit of a break to kind of take a breath? Have you had any hobbies that you've discovered in your time off, or do you know, have you? It's been nice to have a break, get away from the lads, get away from the routine.
We sometimes talk about this with maybe smaller injuries, a couple of weeks, you can kind of sort of rejuvenate yourself and get a good bit of training under your belt. But it's probably, it's coming on about 4 months now, so it's probably a bit too long. It's a bit bit more long term. So there has been games, I've been watching and I've been getting itchy feet, and I'm now at that stage where I'm just dying to hold the rugby ball and just to get back playing.
Yeah. Well, the issue with yours was that it was a couple of weeks and it was a couple of weeks more.
Exactly.
So you never actually had a period here where I can kind of
Exactly. So a lot of injuries you can go, right, that's 4 to 6 weeks, or that's 6 to 8 weeks. I just didn't have a real return to play.
You like a date.
Exactly.
You like a date, and then when the date is there and gone and you're not close to it,
Yes.
it's just another knock.
I know.
It's just a mental.
Yeah, you can
okay.
put that in the diary. You can put the game in the diary you hope to return. But yeah, it was just going on and on. So
Yeah.
hopefully now I can set a few more goals now with the physios and the coaches.
Yeah. So, but you might not have had that much exposure to Dan McFarlane then.
Well, I went on a Emerging Ireland tour with Dan when I was in my early 20s to Romania. And what's wrong with Romania?
This is supposed to be lovely.
You did a strange face. Did you get that face? He did.
Can we edit the face out?
So
Stop telling tales, Craig.
facts are there. You did the face, not me. Yeah, so that was 3 weeks, 3 games, with a lot of guys. So that was really actually enjoyable, and it got on really well with Dan. So I was delighted to hear that he'd signed on, especially for 3 years.
Yeah, and he's made a fairly decent impact with us through this season.
He has, and he takes no crap, and it doesn't matter, who you are. He treats everyone the same. If you're a senior, if you're younger, it doesn't matter to him. If you're playing well, you'll get the jersey, and I think it's a good sort of ethos to have about the place.
Does he actually treat everyone the same?
Except for Rory.
Except for Rory. It's exactly the example I was
Everyone
thinking of.
but Rory.
What does Rory get preferential? Like
He
a
does
nice
what he
spot
wants.
in the. He does what he wants.
Does what he wants, that fella.
Okay.
He runs the place.
He runs it.
Yeah.
Okay.
He gets there's a fight for every inch parking spot that's very close to the door. Probably one close to the door. The one close to the door you probably shouldn't take because it blocks the door, but that's Rory's spot.
That's prime. Okay.
That's almost better than the player of the week spot. So yeah, that's bestie.
And it's always
very
parked
funny.
quite ignorantly as well, isn't it?
Oh, does he take 3 and he's just like?
I would just imagine, I mean, I haven't seen him arrive, but I would just imagine he's flying around the corner. He slams on the brakes and then skids to a stop.
Nice.
It's just it's the way it's parked. It's like no one else could get away with parking their car like
In
that.
fairness, he's up so early and he's a good professional. Like he kind of deserves the spot. You know, he's put his body.
How long have you been going out with Rory for?
Covering his back.
About 2 years now.
Yeah. Tell me, we are sponsored by Guinness, obviously, in the show, and as well as that, I always talk about the time that I defeated the All Blacks single-handedly. You were there that night in Chicago.
I was there playing my role as 24th man.
Crucial role.
Spurring the guys on.
Yeah, couldn't have done it without you.
Yeah, providing Guinness half-time.
But we met, and I actually can't remember. It was like I know, like a 5th generation from Arthur Guinness, or like Arthur Guinness, sixth or 7th or something. Is this right?
One of us was talking to him. It was either, I think I was speaking to him and I told you this, or you were speaking to him and you told me this. And then we all came up with the idea to play the Guinness game with him. You know the Guinness game?
The golf it's kind of like to
the between the bottom of the harp and the top of the G. You know, you have to stop the line. So we ended up playing with him, right? You reminded me of this story in the car on the way down.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that Arthur Guinness is 6th. How have you not heard of the Guinness game?
The 6th.
Well, I said 6th.
Let's just tell people it's 6th.
I know. I don't know. I think when I've told the story, it's like
3rd.
5th, 6th, 7th, whatever. But how does this guy not know?
amateur.
Amateur, yeah.
Who won?
Can't remember.
Oh, do you know what it
Not
sounds?
him.
It sounds like numerous Guinnesses were consumed prior to the meeting. So like, oh, we played this game. It's probably some guy. Oh yeah, my name is Guinness. Yeah, and they're like, oh, lads,
Yeah. We made the whole thing up.
He snuck in like to the after match and completely lied about this persona.
Yeah.
And we've just completely believed
Next
him.
day we're like, did we meet Arthur Guinness last night? Yeah, Arthur. To Arthur. Anyway.
To Martha.
To Martha. Anyway, so that was some weekend, wasn't it?
Yeah. I was delighted to be there, but I would have been even nicer to have been involved. You know, I've got the plaque up in my house. It's one of those like only 50 made and everyone signed it and stuff, you know, and it's a reminder of it. It was an amazing week, you know, when the Cubs won and everything. But you know what it's like being 24th man. You're there, but you're kind of not really there.
Yeah. Well, it was nice to have you anyway.
Thanks.
Another guy who's made a big impact for Ulster this year has been Will Addison.
Yes.
He's a big favourite of ours on the show.
Yes.
I've seen him a few times recently, and I'm always starstruck.
Yeah.
You're in a club with Will, isn't that right? You're in a frozen yogurt club. Or is he not in it?
No, I'm not. I think you've got mixed up. So
Yeah, maybe.
It's not a club. It's just it's an Instagram page I was telling you about. Someone's made up this Instagram page. It's called Will Addison Feeds Ducks, and it's nobody knows who it is. There's the main culprits are Jacob Stockdale and John Cooney, maybe Jordy Murphy. We think they could all be in on it, but it's kind of gathering this traction, you know, and nobody really knows who it is. But the photoshops of Will feeding ducks they're like professionally done. So whoever's doing it either knows exactly what they're doing, or has like a person that's like professional at this sort of stuff. I was chatting to Will the other day. We were having lunch, and he was like, you know, looking at me like
He's rattled.
He was like, you're the Instagram account, aren't you? The Will Addison Feeds Ducks, because obviously I'm injured. Yeah. I've been out. You know, you could be one of the top suspects.
Creative guy.
A lot of time on your hands, and I was kind of taken aback. Like, I'm absolutely. I wish I could Photoshop that good, but. It's still going, and we don't know who it is, so it's a bit of fun.
So we sat down and got a coffee there last week, and he told me about this. And whenever I went away, then I went on Instagram, and I just got followed by Will Addison Feeds Ducks.
That's convenient.
Exactly, Craig.
Andrew.
You duck feeding son of a gun.
That is suspicious.
No,
You're the duck feeder.
Absolutely not. No, Will's the duck feeder.
Right, I know. Yeah.
Anyway, there's one of the pictures. It's quite funny. It's Will feeding ducks with a child, probably 2-year-old, and someone's photoshopped John Cooney's face onto this 2 or 3-year-old. I'm not sure. So I don't know. That could have been John sort of
throwing.
Exactly.
A nice bluff.
Yeah.
The other nice bluff that may exist is I also got followed by Jacob. What is it? Jacob Eats Yogurt?
Something like that. I'm not sure. Again, I think that's something to throw.
But you thought that was Jacob, though?
I thought that could have been.
100%.
I thought maybe Jacob was doing the Ducks account, and he maybe set up the yogurt account to sort of. I don't know. That's not me in the Ducks account because someone's made up this yogurt account about me.
This conversation has
I
wildly
know
taken
how many
us.
people have tuned out since we started talking about this.
No.
Let's get away
No.
from that.
They love this.
Oh,
They
really?
tuned out. They fast forward to the rugby chat at the start. Honestly, they're like, I want ducks and yogurts.
Yeah, we've had
And
rugby all
pancakes.
weekend.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So Will Addison, he feeds ducks then.
Apparently so.
Yeah. You know, I set up a fake account one time.
You did,
Um,
David Humphreys.
for David Humphreys, yeah. It was called Dr. D Humphreys MBE, and it went for about 6 months. It was a bit of a giggle. It was Twitter. It was before the Instagram days, and then I got fined.
Oh.
I got fined a week's wages.
Which was
Not
quid.
not that much back then.
Ali Miller, there's a parody account for her as well. But the thing is with Ali Miller, her real account sometimes seems like a parody, sometimes as well. She's just like, oh, Netflix, #mad. Like, yeah,
They would get away with being a
just-
parody.
Yeah, so it is gold.
Yeah.
Just some of the stuff.
Did the Leinster guys ever find out who the boring Carney brothers was?
I don't think so. I don't know.
Yeah, I think Fergus McFadden knew who they were because he was sending on information. Apparently, he got caught.
Geordie Murphy. And now Geordie Murphy's in Ulster, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the link.
Yeah.
I remember David Humphreys' interrogation technique at the time was, "It's you, isn't it?" And just wait for someone to fold. And
You
it worked.
folded?
Yeah,
You failed?
I fell. Yeah, so he got me. Yeah. There was all this chat and I was loving it, in the team room. I was like overhearing conversations over here. Who is D Humphreys MBE and all? And I was like, it's my dirty little secret. And then at the end of the season, there's a review. The players kind of give feedback on what worked and what didn't work. All this here, and David Humphreys sent this email out to the squad. And people were starting to realise that it was someone in the squad because it was like little in jokes and stuff.
Yeah.
And then it said something. It was like all this writing, and then a link to the survey or like the review or whatever. And then at the bottom it said, "P.S. We're very close to finding out who D Humphreys MBE is." And I went, so I went straight on Twitter and I went, "Let's get one thing straight. You'll know when I want you to know."
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So then obviously it was 100% confirmation that it was someone in the squad.
Yes.
And then
Had you told anyone?
I did. I told Rory. Like when you're like having a good time, you just want someone to share it with.
Yeah.
I shared it with Rory. Rory shared it with someone else. Next thing you know, I'm getting the interrogation from Humphreys. It's you, isn't it? Yes.
Everyone has that one person
Yeah.
that I'm just telling you, no one else. And then they have one person, and then
Exactly. So for a long time, it was just me and Anna at home. No, I mean it was me coming up with all the good stuff. Right? But I was running the gags by her, and she was approving them. And then I was like, I really want one of the lads to know here, so I told Rory. I think Rory told KV. One thing led to another, and I got done. Then I got this phone call one day, and it was from the head of HR at Ulster, and she said, "I want to invite you in for a Twitter investigation." Like real formal and all.
not even a thing.
Yeah, I know exactly.
You're like checking your contract.
Yeah.
The index, where's Twitter investigation?
Yeah. So I had to arrive into this appointment, and it was Shane Logan and the HR girl, and I was starting to get a bit flustered. I was like, this is getting a bit serious here, and I was like, listen, I was only having a bit of crack. I was like, I was injured.
You buckled like
Yeah. I was only having a bit of crack, and then she goes. So then she was like drawing on one of the tweets that I put out. She goes, "Well, you might be having a bit of crack, but you can't go around saying Callum Black is cheap as chips." So I was like, right. Anyway, they said, listen, you're going to get fined a week's wages, and I was like, that's fine as long as I get to keep my job. It was getting this serious. I was like, I'm going to get sacked here. I'm going to be that guy.
As long as I can keep my account.
Yeah, keep the account, delete the account immediately. So yeah, that was that.
Yeah.
Got done.
Just a bit of fun.
Yeah, it's a shame, isn't it? You're squeamish, Craig.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm real squeamish with just certain things.
Like injections?
Uh,
Or
little
taking blood?
little bit injections, more giving blood, getting blood taken.
So,
Yeah. You guys?
I'm all right. Like I had to get a little pin out of my knee, and I chose local, but I watched some of it,
oh yes,
Yes.
that's right. I
and
remember you saying
that
this.
like I wasn't squeamish, but I wouldn't do it again. Like I just wanted to see what happened, and then the minute skin was pulled apart. Sorry, sorry.
He's gonna be sick.
Someone get me a glass of water.
Yeah,
Pat, is there any water over there?
moving swiftly. Yeah, yeah.
The water.
Yeah, no, I'm not squeamish, but I would not do that
Yes.
again.
So, Craig, you were very close to fainting.
Yes, one time, if it's the story that I think you're referring to, we were getting drug tested up at University of Ulster, Jordanstown, and it was urine and blood this day, and Trimble and I were both chosen to do blood tests, random blood samples. So I told the girl, I told her that I was, she was very good, and understanding. I told her I was real squeamish, particularly, with blood, and she said, no worries. I was really like white as a ghost at this stage. She said, just, lie down, just don't look. Luckily, Trimby was beside me for support. So anyway, she was...
I was holding his hand.
You know the way that the blood kind of goes into that valve?
Yeah.
It's like an injection, and then the blood goes into the valve, which then they keep. So she just said, don't look. And so I didn't look, and then am I allowed to swear?
Pad?
Oh yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Okay, because it's a really bad word. She said, oh shit. Okay, so I was looking this way. She said, oh shit, which immediately I needed to see what the oh shit was about. Instead of her playing it cool and like, no, it's fine. She went, oh shit. I looked, the valve had broke. Apparently it wasn't uncommon for these things to break. It had broke. The blood was coming out of my arm, out of the valve into the paper dish. At which point, I was just like holding on. My eyes were rolling in the back of my head. I just turned just to look for a familiar face, and Trimby was there, thankfully. Oh, sweet Trimby. And I think I reached out to him, but I missed him. He seemed like he was close, but because I was so faint, he was probably like a good 2 meters away. So I reached out to missed him, and with all I could say was. The head physio at the time was Gareth Robinson, also known as Gigi. So I just reached out and said, "Get Gigi." That's all I could say.
Then he passed out.
I'm not sure if I fainted or not, but it was the closest I've come to fainting, or else I might have. I don't know. But anyway, Andrew went and got Gigi. Gigi came back, and he was like, "What?
Gigi like,
What do you want, mate?" I just wanted, some support, and I didn't train for the rest of the day, and I think pretty sure I had to go home. So it was it's a funny old story to look back on, but it was a tough day.
Really well reenacted as well. For anyone that's just on audio, yeah, you need to see the visuals. That's like a die-hard.
We'll make a clip of it.
Yeah. Can we go slow-mo? Do we
Yeah.
have to?
Yeah.
Have the capability to do that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Definitely
that
have
was
this
good.
digital
Yeah,
display.
I wouldn't have had a better person, to go through that horrible experience with in Trimby. So.
Straight away, on the way to getting Gigi, I told all the lads, you wouldn't believe what just happened.
It's quite embarrassing.
It happens. One of the girls doesn't like it as well, or even dry needling or anything like that, but she'll be very matter of fact about it. She'll be like, "Yeah, I'm gonna faint now,"
Yeah.
and then just faint.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's like, "Fucking told you, I don't like needles." So, yeah.
Yeah, so that's our Craig. Anyway, listen, that is the end of part 2. Craig, you're going to stick around?
Sure, yeah, if you'll have me.
Yeah,
this
stick
is
around.
fun.
Because you're getting left back to Belfast with me, and I'm not going
You're
for
my
that,
lift, so I'm going to have to, yeah.
Stick around, we'll see you in part 3.
Please let me stay.
Okay, welcome back to part 3 of the House of Rugby Roundup. A little wave to all of you. Wave. Jenny, Craig.
I think I waved the wrong
I
camera.
liked your wave,
Very happy. I was.
Mr. Burns.
it's a bit creepy, that, sorry. Anyway, that won't make any sense to you unless you're watching Instagram TV. Barry's going to come back and go, what is going on? Instagram TV? Not in my day, son. I don't think so. Anyway, so a little bit of a roundup. Ireland under-20s are on course for a Grand Slam after beating Italy. 2 tries from Munster scrum half. He's the wee hard lad, isn't he?
I didn't catch that under-20s game, but I think the Shannon scrum half. I think.
Yeah,
I think
Craig
so.
Casey. That's the wee fella that Barry was loving anyway.
Yeah.
Barry
he's-
reckoned he'd a better pass than any scrum half in Ireland.
That'd be a solid argument.
Yeah.
Good,
Anyway, so France up next in Cork. They've already been beaten by England. Ireland are 4 points clear. The women lost to Italy. They got a bonus point.
Yeah, that's the first time. The Italians beat the women's team, and it was a really really good game. The Italians played lovely rugby, and yeah, like it was. The Italians had some really good team tries, like really well worked. They're creative, and Ireland's tries were 2 lovely crossfield kicks from Nicole Fowley, Emer Considine, strong in the air, and then a really nice intercept as well. But we just never really, we didn't have a strong performance that I know we're capable of. I think one of the big things was our exit strategy. We looked like we didn't have one, so we were playing in our own half when we just needed to kick the ball and play a bit of territory, and we didn't do that when we were kind of ahead. And then once we were behind and chasing scores, we obviously had to keep the ball and work our way out. But by that stage, it was kind of
You're chasing the game.
we were chasing the game, and we got unlucky with injuries. Michelle Claff got injured inside centre, and things had to be shifted around. So Emer Considine went from the wing to outside centre, with Sene Nupu coming in at 12. And Emer, like she said herself, she's never played that centre before, so that was a big change up. Yeah, like I think that'd be the girls. Like that was a tough loss. They'll be gutted.
So is the silver lining to the cloud Ireland women not playing that well, getting beat by Italy, struggling for injuries in the centre, and you're just about to get yourself fit? Am I right?
I'm still a while off, so I'm like, no, I'm at the stage like you want the girls to do well, and
You have to say that anyway, don't you?
I have to say that. I know I have to say that, but yeah, like I do. I like.
How
I
far
know.
away are you actually from playing?
So 3 weeks, and hopefully 3 weeks I'll be running, and then after that maybe running in like
Yeah, okay.
a line
yeah.
that isn't just like straight and
Yeah.
slow, and then like get back and hopefully play club with Old Belvedere first. But like our season's coming to an end, so
Okay, yeah.
you just kind of want to get as much game time as I can. So maybe like do some sevens tournaments or something in the summer.
Okay.
Which would be a horrific way of
Yeah.
getting back into
Yeah,
it.
that's
But
tough.
like yeah, fun
Fit by the end
times.
of it.
Yeah. So I'm not really thinking that far ahead.
Yeah.
Just at the moment now, I think the France game is going to be really tough.
Yeah.
They are still like raging from their loss against England. They were fairly hockeyed a couple of weeks ago, so they're kind of want to bounce back from that. As well as that home game for the girls, hopefully we'll get a new record number in Donnybrook. So it's going to be a tough ask to get a win, but hopefully we'll see. And I imagine with that week that we have, like I think Adam Griggs can like put a bit more emphasis on what we need to do in those situations. And
Yeah, okay.
yeah.
What about Pro 14 rugby? Did you see any of it the weekend?
Yeah, I watched the Munster game.
Yeah.
It was grand. Like
During Six Nations, Pro 14 is always just grand, isn't
Yeah.
it? It's hard to get up for it, really.
it was like even the crowd in because it was an away game, they seemed like a little bit dead. Do you know, like
Was
it was
the
in
Ospreys
Ospreys.
the same place, though it wasn't Liberty Stadium, same place Ulster played them the week before?
I think
Yeah.
so. I think so.
Wasn't Liberty Stadium, yeah, it's a
Yeah, I
different
can't
venue.
remember the name of the place, yeah.
Yeah. So it was a little bit dead, and then but like to be fair, Ulster were really patient with their attack. They held on to the ball, and Ty Byrne had a class game.
So I believe.
Yeah, like key steal, key poaches, disrupted a line out that like the Ospreys would have been raging about.
Yeah.
And then like man of the match performance after having just landed in Wales the day before, the night before, something like that, after being in Ireland camp. So it's like
Yeah.
pretty good going.
He's a freak, isn't he?
Yeah.
He might get a bit of game time with Ireland, who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just obviously.
I wouldn't be surprised to see him against
Yeah.
France.
Yeah.
Connacht got hammered by Glasgow. That's probably looking ominous because Ulster have to go to Glasgow
Yep.
in not a few weeks' time. And that's going to be make or break for Ulster. Well, Glasgow, Edinburgh, Leinster is going to be a tough run in for Ulster at the end of the season if Glasgow are hitting their straps as well. So then Leinster beat the Kings easy enough, and then Ulster beat Zebra easy enough. The Ulster game was just get the job done and get out of there, really. Wasn't much more to say about it. Anyway, let's move on to the vote for the Guinness Made of More Player of the Weekend. The nominations were Liam Williams of Wales, England open side flanker Tom Curry, or France scrum half Anton Dupont, or the turnover machine Pete O'Mahony. Now, we've kind of we've taken liberties here because this is a public vote, but it's a public vote dominated by Irish supporters and voters. So they've voted for Pete O'Mahony, and we've decided that that's not really appropriate. So will we do it ourselves? Will we vote ourselves, maybe?
Yeah, I'll
Pete can't get this, can he?
I don't think he'd.
Liam Williams is class.
Gets my vote.
Yeah, I think so.
Do you want to get your car torched? Or an angry mob waiting for you out here if you don't vote for Pete?
He's already insulted the. Did you insult?
Who have I insulted?
Just for the record, I'm going for Pete. Sorry, Trinity.
Doesn't matter because we're getting home in the same car. If it gets torched, you're not getting home either.
You go back to Belfast later.
Yeah, I think it needs to go to Liam Williams. Listen, we don't give them anything anyway.
You sound like you're just making this decision, so...
Yeah, well, would you not give it to Liam Williams?
I would give it to Liam Williams.
You're going Pete?
Yeah. My car isn't that nice. It's grand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pete probably has some of Paul O'Connell's teeth already anyway. And they don't get it anyway, so it's a waste of time. Okay. We should really rethink the whole award.
However, if Peter Mahoney goes on Twitter being like, this was a public vote, I want my teeth.
Here, that's great. That's great publicity for us.
Yes.
You know
maybe this is a ploy by us.
Yeah. Let's
nice.
draw a complaint. some bad publicity. Who cares?
Okay.
It's all the same, isn't it? Anyway, so Pete, unlucky mate, not getting any teeth this week. So we'll move on to the Twitter questions. Ask HOR. First one is a little bit rugby boring. Okay. So we're going to just skip that. Go on to Ronan Carey. Watching this team feels worryingly like the Rugby World Cup 2011. Flat, low in confidence.
We're like we already mentioned earlier, like jumping at the worst possible conclusion. We haven't had stellar performances in the last 3 games, and yet we're still in a title hunt. Our players that are normally, consistently 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10, they're not maybe hitting those peaks at the moment, but that's all right. I wouldn't be reading too much or worried. And plus we've got time.
We're still the second best team in the world.
Yep.
And we still could win a Six Nations.
Yep.
So we're grand anyway.
Yep.
Right, never mind Ronan. Barry O'Sullivan, if the Six Nations coaches were actually characters from the Goonies, who would be who?
Sorry, I haven't seen the Goonies.
Such a millennial. Actually, I don't know any of the characters' names really. Just the hey you guys, that guy.
And
that's all I know.
Is Chunk
Truffle Shuffle, is that the guy?
Yeah, who's Truffle Shuffle?
We're really just trying to find out who's the fattest coach in the Six Nations, isn't it really? So this guy, Barry O'Sullivan's just trying to get us in bother. We're not falling for it, Barry.
Okay, yeah, actually, because there's
today,
no...
Barry.
Not today, Barry. Not never.
That's our Barry in disguise. Trying to sabotage the show.
How many questions have we answered so far?
We've answered
0
none.
from 2.
That's
Move on.
Yeah. 3 trick questions. Anyway, Jeremy Kemp. Did you see Ross Kemp was at the England-Wales game?
Yeah.
Anyway, he's no relation. What's your guilty pleasure? Movie, song, or sweet? Craig?
For sweet, I would usually go for Pick a Mix, and that would generally be in the cinema, so kind of 2 birds with 1 stone there. The movie, I'm a big Lord of the Rings. Sorry, I'm still going.
I just think it's a bit of a cheat.
Is there a specific one that you're like, yeah, I'd go out like in the Pick a Mix, or is it just?
It is the mix.
Okay.
Of the sweets. It's the mix end of the Pick a Mix. Is this movie something we've seen, or something? Is this like an old favorite, or something recent, or just anything?
Yeah.
I would say Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter. It would be something I would always put on. Sweets, Pick a Mix, song, something from Biffy Clyro or Macklemore.
Our song.
Sure.
Sorry, Johnny.
Oh man, there's so much sexual tension here, and I'm just sitting in the middle. It's so
Get over here.
awkward. Yeah. You're dreamy. No, you're dreamy.
Okay, for me, the movie's La La Land.
Okay.
Or, yeah.
Like, fair enough. Yeah.
Too guilty
No,
or
like
too pleasant? What is it?
Anna definitely said before you left, you better pick La La Land.
No, that's just
You're
in
on
my
the
head today
couch.
because I
You're on the
watched it
couch
today.
tonight.
Yeah, I watched it today. I made the kids watch it. They wanted to watch Paw Patrol, but I made them watch La La Land instead. Anyway, that was that. Sweet for me is it Whole Nut? I mean, there was that.
classic.
Getting contrasting reactions here.
I love
He's
that,
not
yeah.
happy with it.
Cadbury's
Yeah,
Cadbury's Whole Nut is
Yeah.
your guilty sweet.
yeah.
Okay.
It's too boring, is it?
Come on. How old are you?
I know.
That
Old
would've
enough to know the
been-
game.
that would have been up there for me. Like, I'm glad I didn't go first. Yeah, that's definitely like the whole nut is like it's
Yeah.
it's
We're on
classic.
that level yet for me to be like, that's a terrible choice. I would have been
No,
like,
it
oh,
is,
that's
well,
a
it's a
lovely
Brilliant,
choice.
excellent decision.
That was my second choice behind Pick a Mix.
Yeah, and then songs. It's Our Song.
Huh? Oh, really?
My favourite song's Our Song.
Well, it's not called Our Song. What is it then?
I can't remember.
It's Many of Our, but do you like Biffy Clyro?
no.
No? Okay. Well, it's Many of
Just
Our.
go with this, Jenny,
You
yeah?
just crap on my whole nut option and be like, yeah, that's a rubbish shoe choice. Yeah.
Do you want to tell the Biffy Clyro story with the concert?
There's not much to it, really. It was just early
Or
on.
it's not a story.
Early on, we bumped into each other at a concert.
I don't know why you called it a story.
Why did you? Oh, Trimble, tell them about our Biffy Clyro story.
Yeah,
Right.
that's about that.
Saw each other at a
That's
gig.
about the height of it, yeah.
Class. That is awful.
Yeah. Guilty movie.
Guilty. Like I actually Lord of the Rings, love them, and would sometimes do the binge of watching
Yeah.
all three. I tried to do the extended cut.
Brave.
Oh, it was long. It was tough. I actually had to take a break over Christmas. I don't feel guilty about it. I love it. Hunt for the Wilder People. I'm like, yeah, I'll keep on rewatching that. I
Yeah.
love that.
Just a pleasure.
So
I
good.
suppose.
Guilty pleasure. I don't know if you'd call it a guilty. Bon Iver.
Oh?
Yeah,
yeah.
really like him.
I don't think there's any guilt in any of your pleasures.
No, I'm trying to think of what. Oh, that song.
They're like completely...
Taking Care of Business. What is like? I'm not gonna hum it because
You get a
I don't want
microphone.
Annie.
It's
or-
a final
Annie.
count. Is that it?
Yeah, that's a great. Yeah. What was it? Taking Care of Business.
Yeah.
Bachman Turner Overdrive.
Oh, wow.
That's
You're
the.
so cultured.
No, when you listen to the song, you're like, that's not a cultured song.
Oh, right.
But like, I love it.
I thought it would be on
Or
Classic
Bonnie
FM.
Tyler, like, Turn Around.
That's more guilty.
Okay,
Now
yeah.
we're talking.
Yeah, love that.
Yeah.
And then Sweet, like, I don't know, is this like Frere Rocher? Because
Oh,
I feel like an
nice.
absolute, like, buying, the three, and you're just like, oh, I feel like such a knob buying the three,
Yeah.
but I love them. Yeah.
Frere Rocher, it's such a posh Swede, isn't it?
Yeah.
I love it as well. I imagine you go to Johnny Sexton's house and he has a butler and there's a silver platter and there's like a pyramid of Frere Rocher on it because he's just so wealthy and posh. And
And it always has to be a full pyramid.
Yes,
So if
yeah.
you take like 3 or 4 off it, they have to restack
There's a
it.
laser and it's like, oh, it's gone down. Yeah.
yeah, and just out of badness, you take the one at the bottom and the whole thing starts, and the butler starts panicking.
My brother, one Christmas, he, like the cellophane wrap, opened it,
Yeah.
took a few.
Tricky to, that's a
Oh,
difficult
yeah.
maneuver.
And he shoved like tissue paper or whatever back in, so the weight was completely off, but it was a 2-layer thing, and whatever. And then my mum gave it to a neighbour or something for Christmas, and it was as you saw the parcel get passed across and you knew what was happening, you're like, oh no. It was a bad job. He botched it. Like, I think he just got regular sellotape and just like,
There's like a fence being erected on the Monday between the houses.
And if you picked it up, it would definitely tilt as well. The weight distribution was all off.
Oh, well played.
Yeah.
Ruined someone's Christmas. Nicely done. Anyway, that's all we've got time for. Thank you very much for your comments, your questions, and listening and watching us on YouTube. Remember, if you're not already subscribed, get yourself subscribed. Leave us a rating or a comment. leave us a positive rating or a positive comment. We appreciate your feedback as long as it's positive and you love everything that we do. So anyway, a massive thank you to everybody. Craig, thanks for coming along.
Thanks for having me, guys. Thanks.
Jenny, thanks for doing an incredible job the last couple of weeks.
Thanks. I'm glad Baz is coming back though.
Baz, good luck getting your job back. Yeah. See you, Baz. Nice knowing you. Okay, this has been Baz and Andrew's House of Rugby on Joe, together with Guinness. Thanks for joining us.